Vidya Bala joins us, co-founder with Prime Investor. Vidya, good morning. Good afternoon, rather. Thank you for joining us. Tell us a bit about your market outlook. Where are you investing right now? Where are you picking your spots?
Right. So at this point in time, we would call ourselves being cautiously optimistic. We would welcome corrections like the one that we saw today. We thought we were on target in terms of our earnings outlook, about 18% ending for FY24 and possibly mid-teens for the Nifty in FY25. But we are getting a bit concerned about the rise in commodity, and that could be a put off in terms of where we are expected to go for the coming year. So we are keenly watching whether the sustained rise in commodities, especially in metals and the inputs used for the FMCG sector, could impact the earnings for India Inc. for FY25.
When you say that corrections like what we've seen today, but would you call today's price action as hardly any kind of a correction? Because you need at least 5-10% of price action to call it a correction.
Correct. You're right that this cannot be called as any meaningful correction, but we are hoping that as the earnings season kick in, the market can very quickly, punish segments that are not performing. For example, although TCS came up with, returns, the performance that kind of matched market expectations. Still, there are concerns in terms of the uptick in the industry overall. So these kind of clues can very quickly change the market mood, and that together, obviously, with the election fever now, we are hoping can give some more opportunities.
Vidya, where else do you see weakness in terms of earnings?
We are not seeing weakness per se, but we are seeing peak out in certain segments, which kept the market going last year. For example, the banking sector and many of the other cyclicals in terms of, capital goods, auto. Many of these kept the earnings very strong, and we may see that peak out. And therefore, moving into FY25, we are not sure if that kind of growth momentum can be maintained.
But Vidya, at the portfolio level, what is your recommendation perhaps to investors? Do you think there is a large shift which should be made from small cap, mid cap into large cap?
Yes, even at the beginning of 2024, we have advocated that there is some moat and safety in large caps, not just in terms of valuations, but in terms of the earnings growth as well. That is in terms of the market cap segment, but in terms of sectors, we do think, we are looking more keenly in sectors like consumption in pockets, not the traditional FMCG, but more some of the discretionary spending spaces. We are also looking at the banking and financial space, which has not participated last year, especially some of the private banks, which look reasonable now, and a sustained credit uptick could definitely provide some impetus for their stock run up. We are also looking in pockets of healthcare. So this is where our focus is today on.
Okay, point taken, Vidya. Hold that thought. Let me bring our chartists also into the conversation. Kunal, what do you make of this up move on Capri Global? It's been quite strong. And even Newland Labs, for that instance, since that initiation came in from Goldman, that stock has been on a bit of a tear.
I think Capri Global is interesting because that stock is now pricing on the back of some extremely high volumes. It's a very high beta name because the stock tends to move into sharp swings of 20-30% in a very short span of time. So very recently, for example, from the month of March, in fact, March first week is where the stock actually made a major top for itself around the 280 mark, then fell down to 190, 195 levels, and now it's come back to that 245 to 50 mark. So in just a matter of 3-4 weeks, the stock has seen swings of more than 20% or so, twice, one on the downside, one on the upside. So that itself tells you the volatility factor for the stock price. So far it may look attractive, but these are not trading kind of stocks which we typically look out for, especially when you see such kind of sharp swings in a very short span of time. Because in case if you tend to happen to be on the wrong side, then the swings could be a lot more difficult to try and navigate through. So I would probably want to just wait out for the spike today to try and consolidate. Maybe the stock coming back to that 220 mark could be a better zone to try and buy the stock. Newland Lab, on the other hand, that's a stock which is actually looking attractive, especially after the recent up move from the March lows. The stock was, I think, 5,500 levels towards a point when the stock is nearing a breakout of our 7,000 mark. So a very interesting chart, moving on high volumes, steady in terms of the price trends. I would probably look out for higher targets of 7,250 to 300 for Newland Labs.
Other than that, I just want to see what Aster DM as well is up to. This has been quite the buzzer. Remember, they declared that special dividend and the stock has really been on a dizzy from the word go today. There's also Senco Gold, which is seeing traction of about almost 17% at the session highs. They achieved revenue growth of about 39% in the fourth quarters. The same-store sales growth as well during FY23 to 24 stood at a solid 19%. Rudra, I don't know how closely you're monitoring these charts, if at all, but Aster DM, Senco Gold, Senco, you may not have, enough data history.
See, a word on Senco based on the price action and as well as the data available, it has just gone above those levels of 900 and today closing above 900 is very bullish. Volumes are also very supportive today. So I will be a buyer on any dips to 900 from current market price. Any dip to 900 is a buy on Senco and one can hold for a target of 1,100 to come on Senco. No comments on Aster DM. I don't track it closely, but we can observe clearly IT is not participating, banks are not participating. And in spite of good results from TCS, if you are seeing stock trading at the lows of the day, then imagine if the results were bad. So for me, this market will see some amount of correction. So I will not be buying anything right now. In fact, stay light, reduce your leverage and wait on sidelines to buy, even keeping in mind the geopolitical tension, crude oil prices going up, interest rates not coming down anytime sooner. So, and also corporate results, not just as of now, whatever data we have, even a good result is not supporting prices. So for me, this is definitely a market to wait on sidelines, wait for dips to buy.
Everybody's waiting for the dip. The problem is the dip just does not come. When everyone is on the same side of the boat, it rarely happens that way. I mean, small cap was supposed to be an expensive category for 2023, but the index did very well. Small cap stocks, when they corrected in the month of March, the correction was expected to be much more steeper, but the correction lasted for a couple of days, not even weeks, forget months and, years here. So when you think that markets are about what is in the price, nothing else matters. What is in the price, what is not in the price. And one stock which I think is worth revisiting is Jio. It's down 5%. For a company where operations have started and profits have not started, it's just gone absolutely crazy ever since it got demerged. And the price discovery of Jio Financials now, it came down to what levels of sub 200, and sub 200 in quick time has become almost 350. If I add back today's correction, 370, 375. So it's like this perfect outperformer of 2024. Vidya, what's your view on Jio Financials? Do you think it's a stock which one should own in their portfolio without looking at near-term profits and without looking at FY25 and 26 projections?
Right. So, if one were to look at fundamentals of such stocks, you would not be able to make up your mind on any kind of investment decision. But I think I spoke about consumer discretionary, and I think players like Jio Financial could potentially be major beneficiaries of such spending. I mean, if you take three key factors: credit, e-commerce, and social media enablers. These are factors that basically kind of democratize purchasing power, and with that, players like geofinance are very well placed to capitalize with the kind of obvious breadth that they have. So I would tend to think that you could call these dark horse bets. But again, in a market that is brimming with confidence, it's very hard to kind of say otherwise. So I think in a corrective phase is when you sit back and decide whether you can handle these kind of stocks.
So that's the view coming in on Jio Financial Services. But Kunal wanted your take regarding Tata Power. That one is in news because the Section 11 implementation for the import-based coal thermal power plants has been now extended till October 2024 versus June 2024. And then the other one is Transformer Rectifiers India. That stock has been on a crazy run for the last couple of months. I think it's up 60-70% in the matter of last couple of months.
So I'll start off with transformer rectifiers, Anisha, because I think that's a stock which is, if I'm not wrong, in the trade to trade group, which means it's in the ASM list, and that's why I would believe that you could probably expect that when you see such kind of moves, they generally get participation of lower levels in terms of volumes, from traders. So it could probably be one of the odd stocks moving up higher on the back of the expectation that this trend would continue, and of course, with news flows surrounding the stock price, would not want to participate on transformers rectifiers because of the way the stock is placed into the ASM list. But I think Tata Powers could be interesting because that's a stock which is now coming back to that breakout of the previous highs of 430, 440 plus mark. It's a fantastic chart when you look at the last 2 years, 3 years of price recovery for Tata Power from a stock being, I think, around 55 or 60 rupees in 2020 to a point where the stock is now 400 or comfortably cruising past about the 400 levels. I think it's significantly upped its base even on the recent short-term charts. We looked at 400 as a good median point of a mean reversion zone for Tata Power. So keeping that 400 levels, I would probably believe traders should hold on to the long positions, or if not, someone who's missed out or looking to buy the stock would still need to add the stock at current levels.
Okay, on the subject of Vodafone then, given that sizable FPO of 18,000 crore rupees, hear it out from Akshaya Moondra, the CEO at Vodafone India, saying that the funding will help them to grow the 5G network and that there is a long runway for growth.
We have 5G spectrum in 17 of our priority circles, which account for 98% of our revenue. And with this round of funding, we will roll out our 5G network also. 4G penetration is still at 66% only, and this figure for China again is 116%. So a lot of penetration to happen on the 4G, and if we look at the overall telecom penetration itself, it is only at 83%. And there's a lot of runway left for this penetration of 83% to grow further. The next driver of ARPU growth would be to say that the tariffs have been below a level where the industry can return its cost of capital. As I mentioned earlier, Indian ARPUs today are the lowest in all major countries in the world, and 1/3 of China, which is a comparable country. Largely tariff corrections are required, and so that the industry can get to a point where it is generating sufficient returns to be able to make future investments.
All right. Kunal, on the charts, Vodafone, there is an FPO which is on. So there's an event which is at play. The stock is in FNO ban, but it's a liquid stock which everybody wants to trade and trade out. Nobody wants to buy Vodafone and marry the stock for 3 or 4 years. The call is that at 13 rupees, is there scope to make 15-20% in a jiffy?
Well, there could be a case, Nikuj, because I think we were discussing this on Friday also, that the stock was on the verge of breaking below its 200-day moving average on Friday. I think that level was for Vodafone Idea was around 11.7, 11.6 approximately. The stock made a low of 12.2. For itself, it managed to protect and did not close below its 200-day moving average. And now you see a sudden reversal. So the move started off from the stock on Friday when there was some positive news flow for the stock, and we saw the stock recovering from the intraday lows of 12.5 itself. So which means now, because the risk reward is attractive, traders can look at a contra buy for the stock at current levels, and the volume setup, of course, over the last 2 days. So maybe closer to 11.7, 11.6 could be kept as a trailing stop loss over here for traders who are looking at a buy. And on the upside, even if you look at the retest of the previous swing highs, we could be looking at 14.5 to 15 as a near-term target for Vodafone Idea.
Okay, so that's the take as far as Vodafone Idea is concerned, but we understand that the customers of Kotak Mahindra Bank are facing technical issues because they're not able to perhaps use their internet banking, as well as ATMs are something which are facing technical glitches at the moment. My colleague Ankur is at the ground zero in front of an ATM to try and decipher for us whether that is true or not. Ankur, tell us what is the latest update?
We received a few complaints from the customers saying that they are not able to withdraw cash from Kotak Mahindra Bank. Now we are at the location itself, that is the branch of Lower Parel of Kotak Mahindra Bank, and we are trying to do a status check whether or not there is a problem at Kotak Mahindra Bank. When we tried to withdraw the cash from the ATM, the system error is shown by the ATM slip, as you can see in this slip itself. We also tried to check with customers what is the actual problem. We are being told that many of the customers are not able to withdraw the cash from ATM as well as branches. We also went inside the branch to check what is the actual problem. We were told that there is a system error. The main server is down as per few of the branch officials. We were told that it is not working since morning, and hence many of the services are impacted on the bank side. This includes cash withdrawal, this includes other transactions as well, and this also includes the online transactions. Now, we also reached out to bank for a comment, which we haven't received till now, but we definitely know that bank is working to resolve this issue as soon as possible.
Okay, the core banking server got hit in Kotak Bank, and Ankur experienced that firsthand. But we'll take a very quick break on that note. Vidya, thanks for joining in today. We'll come back and track the last half an hour of trade this afternoon.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.